All right, now lastly, let's look at example 3. What is the negative solution to the equation? So negative solution to the equation, 4x squared plus 5x minus 6 equals 0, round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So again, let's go back to our steps that we have right above. All we need to do is to make sure it's a quadratic equation, and it is because the highest exponent again is a 2. We need to make sure that it's set equal to 0, and it's already set equal to 0. And then now we just have to identify the A, B, and the C values, and then plug and chug from there. So then we have 4x squared plus 5x minus 6 equal to 0. And again, I want you guys to write in the quadratic equation in standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, so that we can identify what the a, b, and c values are. So a, from here we can see that it's 4, b is 5, and c is, if this is a plus c and we see a minus 6, that means that our c is negative 6. So now let's go ahead and plug it in. So plug and chug into the quadratic formula. So we have x equals negative, our b value is 5, plus or minus the square root of negative 5 squared minus 4, and just times a and c all over 2 times 4. So again, I am plugging in so the a's were here and here, the b's, which is 5, here and here, and of course lastly the c value, which is here, went in right here. So we can't really determine which one from the plus or minus is going to give us a negative solution, so we're just going to have to try to put both into our calculator. So let's go back over here. Let's go to control doc, add calculator. So now again we have a fraction, so let's do control divide. Negative 5 plus square root. So again, I'm just typing in exactly as I have on my screen over here that you should have in your paper. Alright, so I did the plus first. Just double checking that I have everything correct. Press entered, and I have 3/4. Now, because I have this over here, that means that I'm going to have to get a decimal, because there's no way I can write a fraction into something that I have to bubble in. So remember to get the decimal, control enter, so that's 0.75. Now I want to go back here, copy and paste, because it's asking us for the negative solution. In this case, 0.75 is positive. So let's do minus, enter, and we get negative 2. So I still want us to write in both of the solutions, because, I mean, that's just because it's, I mean, we need both solutions, but in this case, because they're asking only for the negative, we're only going to highlight or write in the negative solution. So we have x is equal to 0.75, and it's also equal to negative 2. So let's negative 2, go ahead and bubble that in. So then once the negative solution. And so again, at this point, you guys can go ahead and either pause the video to finish taking notes or have a little bit of moment to try to process it. But the most important thing whenever we're talking about the quadratic formula is that you need to be able to write these equations into standard form. And the most tricky part would probably be if the equation is not equal to 0, and just remembering exactly how to move the equation over. So if you ever get stuck, you can look back at the first example that we looked at where it wasn't equal to 0 and then go from there. And then just being able to identify A, B, and C values is pretty much the most important thing just to be able to plug and chug into our quadratic formula. If you do not identify those A, B, and C values correctly, then your whole solution is incorrect. So from here on, I want you guys to go ahead and attempt the independent practice. It's over on the right side of your foldable. And if you have any questions or anything, again, like I said, you can go back and look at the videos. And then my instructions will be further on the next slide.